Okay, so now if we move to the next slide, you're going to see all of it together again, and we're going to move on. Oh, and I need to point out, we do rank 56 out of 174 school districts. So that is a celebration point as well. So if we go to the next slide, it's going to talk about the next activity that we're going to do. We're calling them gallery walks, and so this is for the audience as well so that we can make sure that we know what we're doing. When you entered tonight and signed in, you each received a name tag. On your name tag, you have a colored dot. So we're going to take a 5 to 10 minute recess. Yes, no switching of your name tags. So you're going to move to the cafeteria, and on the wall, you're going to see colored dots. So obviously, you'll match your colored dot to the dot that's on the wall. That's your starting place. And you're going to rotate around to 8 different locations, and each principal will tell you about their calculation for their scores, what they're excited about, what they're worried about, and what their next steps will be. So in order for you to know when to go to the next station, we're going to play music. Okay, kind of like the Grammys. That way you know how sometimes we can go on and on and on. When the music starts, we know we have to be quiet, and you're going to move to the next station. Okay? So you'll have about 5 minutes that the principal will go over their scores, about 4 minutes for question and answer, and then we'll move to the next station. Obviously, that doesn't allow a lot of time for questions. So you also received some notepads, Post-it notes. Okay, so if you have a comment, if you have a suggestion, whatever you want to ask that principal that maybe you don't want to ask in that small group, write it on the Post-it note and stick it on the parking lot. The principals will use this in helping to develop their school improvement plan so that when that comes to your council meeting, which is coming up probably next month, you'll be looking at your school improvement plan. They will hopefully use the feedback from all of the different members of councils to help them to come up with that. Okay, does anyone have any questions about what we do?
Yeah, we'll just take a 10-minute break, and then everybody will meet in the cafeteria. Is that what you want to do? Okay, 10 minutes, we'll be in the cafeteria. Yes.
We're ready. We'll go ahead and get started then. My name is Mike Abel. I'm a principal here at Marion County High School. And as you can see by our scores, we've got a lot to be excited about this school year. We have 5 areas in which we are held accountable for through the state testing system. We have our achievement scores, our gap scores, growth, college and career readiness, and graduation rate. We were able to move up in 4 out of 5 of those areas, moving us from the 45th percentile to the 78th percentile in the state, and earning us the honor of being considered a proficient school based on the Kentucky accountability standards. And I wish I could say those things I did. A lot of this data is based on the staff and the students who were here last year, and really speaks a lot of credits to what they were able to accomplish. I'm going to talk briefly about each of the areas, and then we'll go back at the end, and I'll be glad to ask any questions. The things you're going to see on the high school that you're not going to see on every one of these is your college and career readiness and the graduation rate. And I'll go more into detail, especially about the college and career readiness when we get there. If you look at the achievement, these are basically determined by our end-of-course assessments in Algebra 2, Biology, English 2, and U.S. History. We were able to make gains in 4 of the 6 areas. Most significantly, our science scores, which went up 22.3 points compared to the previous year. Now they have room to go up because most of our scores were close to state averages. That one was significantly lower, but they did move it up to slightly above the state average at 58.1. Our social studies scores also had double-digit gains, going up to a 59.2, which is almost reaching the state average in that area. Writing scores went up. Our language mechanics scores went up. What is concerning to me, though, two of the most critical areas, our reading and our math scores, both went down. Especially alarming, the number of students we still have scoring in the novice and apprentice ranges in both math and in reading. So that's definitely a target area that we're looking at. We're getting interventions in place for those students to get them up on grade level in regard to the math and the reading. Our GAP score also went up, slightly. This is our students who do have special needs. It's our free and reduced lunch group. It's our minorities. It's our English as a second language. Those are the students who make up our GAP group. Once again, we see where they did go down in reading, but most every other area we did see gains. Once again, the biggest being in science and social studies. We had a small drop there in our language mechanics. Don't want to downplay its significance, but it's not as big a component of our overall score as the other areas are. Our growth score goes from when they take the plan test their sophomore year to their growth and what they gain going to the ACT their junior year. We did have some of the highest ACT scores in school history this past March when the school took the ACT. So that's something that was very, speaks highly of our junior class and is now our seniors. Some momentum we also want to carry over and make sure we continue those instructional practices that led to those scores as well. That is up 3.1, also higher than our state average in that regard. The one that's kind of, I'll say nearest and dearest to me is our college and career readiness, because my goal when I accepted this position was that all students be college or career ready by the time they graduate. We've got some work to do in this area because that score did go down by 0.7. In order to be considered college ready, you have to meet benchmarks on the ACT in English, math, and reading. If you meet those three benchmarks, which are in 18, 19, and 20, then you are considered college ready. The career ready piece of that, you basically have to take a sequence of courses, 3 courses in an approved, certificate area or a career pathway that will allow you the opportunity to take either an industry certificate or a standards test such as COSA to earn certification. So it's kind of a 2-part test. You have to have the courses and then pass that test at the end, which is a national or a state test, in order to be considered career ready. What we've started doing already is seeing which students have those pathways, making sure we have students assigned to the courses they need, and focusing the instruction in those classes to the standards that they're going to be tested on. And we want to make sure that we're making the test and the assignments in those classes as rigorous as what they're going to see on those state and national assessments. We've also had several meetings with the Area Technology Center. Mr. Barden and I, we've sat down, we've talked about which kids we share, which track does the student have the best opportunity to become either career ready in, whether it be the welding, the automotive, or a pathway here such as our FFA, our interior design, our culinary program. We've got a lot of opportunities for the students. We just need to manage and get those students who we feel like may not make benchmarking on the ACT or who are significantly below benchmark into one of those career pathways, so we're meeting their individual needs to allow them a career path. If you look at the graduation rate, that one is kind of self-explanatory, I think. I'm not going to go a lot of details. Some of that, I think, the jump is significant. It's one of the reasons we did have, as was mentioned, our scores did increase. We just want to maintain that. We want to make sure we do everything we can to make students feel connected to school. I think some of that can come through athletics. We have an outstanding band program, our FFA. Like I said, even if it's the courses up at the Area Technology Center that they can participate in. Find some way to get that hook into them so that the school has meaning and value and they want to come on a daily basis. The more you're here, the more likely you're going to graduate. Now they've got 5 minutes for questions. So,
when you talk about reading on the high school level,
yes, sir.
What are you talking about? A reading score, what does it consist of?
We don't use the map data that they use in the middle school. We don't have that. Right now, this is based on the scores they had on their English plan and their English, primarily ACT. This is not factored in here. This is more the end of course for the English 2, our sophomore year. We've been looking at ACT. We did have students, our juniors, take to practice ACT already. We've got results from practice plan, and our plan results the sophomores took in September are back. We're looking at the results from that. We've got a data room up now where we're looking at that and targeting individual students, seeing where they're at and what interventions do they need to help get them.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, so you're saying it's based on English scores, is their reading score?
That is where that number comes from, yes. As far as having a specific map score or number to put out in front of you, I'll be honest, I don't have that. I know looking at the number of novice and apprentice up here, it's alarming to me.
So you're saying that we can get a score in reading just based on English scores?
That is part of that English component.
Can
when
we
they do it.
tell whether a student is actually, I mean, how can we find a student who's not reading? You know what I'm saying?
You can look at those scores and see the ones that are significantly lower. And
Okay.
those are some of the ones that we want to look at our Compass Learning and the things we purchase and get them on some of those plans, have them take those tests and get them on there so they can get those individualized learning plans for them to work on Compass. And that's what we're going to have to do. Because I'll be honest, many of our high school teachers, we need some work in the area of literacy because they don't consider themselves, or they were not trained, I guess, as extensively as our middle school and elementary teachers. So I think that's something we would benefit tremendously from. But to sit here saying, try to give you a number, I'll be hard pressed to do that right now.
Is it going to continue to be that way? I know it is right now, but is it continue to be the reading?
I'm looking because Miss Newcomb and I were talking about just for some numbers for the presentation this evening, and we're looking at some ways to be able to better monitor and better track them. Like I said, the freshmen have their plan that they took to practice, so we can look at those scores from there and see who is not scoring close to grade level or close to benchmark. Sophomores, they actually take the plan, so once again, we can look at those scores. Juniors, we've got our ACT results, and what we've done on our data room upstairs is just kind of mark those kids. Here is the benchmark. How far away or how far over are those kids from reaching or meeting that benchmark?
What do we do with a student we find in high school, sophomore, who's below reading level, who can't read? What's being done for the student?
Well, right now we try a lot of one-on-one intensive instruction. I know we've got a lot of ESS that takes place after school if they can't afford to stay there. We've developed some time within the school day, an academic time. It's 45 minutes twice a week where teachers can pull those students and have them come work with them for small group or more intensive one-on-one instruction than they may be able to give in a group setting or in a whole classroom setting. How we've got it set up now, Tuesdays are targeted for classroom or subject area interventions. Right now we're using our Thursdays. We're going to start, once we get more of this data back, for ACT prep, where we see those gaps in ACT or plan testing so we can help increase our scores in those areas as well. But we're really looking at programs, and I think Compass, for the students who are willing to work on it, will pay off hugely in that regard. Just being able to give them those individualized plans. That's the thing with the even small group, you may not be able to break it down exactly where that student is. That will give them work in a manner that will allow them to be successful on it and be able to, build their level for where they started.
Yeah. Pretty impressed with how being on the site base, I was pretty impressed with how they're working that into the school day, pulling these kids and bringing them in so they can get the one-on-one classroom.
Most not always stay. That's what you're going into. We're trying to get some things in place.